Hey everyone, this is Jay with Weed Warriors. Just want to talk to you today about some ways that you can get your grass to fill in. A lot of what we do at Weed Warriors, we kill weeds, we put out fertilizer, but when there's some things you can do to help with what we're doing, it can really help the yard to look good. We've had a lot of winter damage. This is spring of 2023 right now. The Christmas of 2022 had what we call an Arctic blast that came through, and it really killed a lot of grass, especially centipede and some zoysia also. We also had some late freezes. We had nights in the 40s even in the month of May this year so far. So we've just had some really bizarre spring cold weather that's damaged a lot of grass. And so I want to talk to you today about the difference in seeding, sodding, sprigging, and plugging. Those are 4 ways. There's other YouTube videos that are going to do a much better, more in-depth job of helping you to understand what you can do with each of those 4 methods. But I want to give you a quick overview of what those 4 methods are and some quick ideas that you can do, especially in smaller areas. And this is more of a do-it-yourself video. So, or if you just want to know, maybe when your landscaper is talking to you about what they can do, you can extrapolate this on a bigger scale, more professional scale if a landscaper does it. But if you're a do-it-yourselfer, or if you just want to understand what they're talking about, this video can help you to understand some of those terms. And so I'll start by saying, I'll go over some of the simple things and the quicker things first. When we're talking about seed, we're talking about, you have most of the time at any garden store, they're going to have a machine like this, and you just rotate it. This is Bahia grass seed in here, and I don't want it to go in my Bermuda grass yard, but you just do like that. Do it right before rain. It's about to start raining here right now, or put your sprinkler system on it, water it in, and that goes for all of these methods. Anything you do in the summertime, though, I would say the #1 concern with sodding, sprigging, seeding, or plugging is you have to keep it watered after you do it, because and if you do seeds right after it germinates, you have to really make sure, because those seeds, they are teeny tiny and their root system is teeny tiny, and so it takes a lot of tender loving care when you sow seed, to keep it well watered. And seed's not cheap either. And let me just go ahead and talk about the seeding part real quick. I thought it was going to be a quicker one, but actually I do need to help you to understand that Bermuda zoysia yards, our Bermuda zoysia program, we put out a pre-emerge that prevents crabgrass, and so it's not going to let seeds survive. A lot of people who are used to cool season grasses, like if you're from up north, I've had this conversation with 2 of our customers this week who are from northern states where they grow cool season grass, cool season turf grass, that you have to use seed. They don't, the sprigging, the runners that we have with our warm season grass, if you could zoom in a little bit right here, Ray, on some of these grass right here, these runners, Bermuda grass, it throws these runners along the ground, and each of these points is going to root down, and it's just going to keep running across the ground. Bermuda grass does that, centipede grass, St. Augustine grass, zoysia grass, all of our warm season grasses, they'll run across the ground. So you don't have to put out seed. Cool season grass up north, you have to put out seed because they don't have runners. We get the blessing of having all of our turf grasses that will run across the ground. So if you can get it started by seed, by sod, by sprigging, by plugging, it can start from those central growing points and spread out and run across the ground. But with our pre-emerge, with our program with Bermuda zoysia grass, we don't allow seeds to germinate. So if you have a centipede St. Augustine program, you can still put out some seed, centipede seed, for example. I'm not aware of any commercial available, companies that sell St. Augustine seed. So if you have St. Augustine grass, maybe you can teach me something, but I'm not aware of even being able to use St. Augustine. But with centipede, there are varieties of centipede seed that you can put out, and this would be the time of year to do it. This is definitely the time of year to do Bermuda seed. If you do it at some point in April, or even as you get into the summer, it could get too hot. April, March is too cool, but May is the time to put out seed if you want to go that route. Again, there's a lot more videos to go into a lot more details with that. So the seeding was not a short spiel. The plugging is a short spill, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut off a piece of this sod here. Whenever you plug, we actually have one of our videos on our YouTube channel is dedicated to plugging, and so you can reference that video if you want to learn more about plugging. But when you plug a yard, it's this tool, and it's about this tall, 3-4 feet off the ground, and you go into where you have good healthy grass, you put it in, you twist it, you put it in, you twist it, and you collect these plugs. They're round plugs. This one is a little more triangular, but as you keep getting these plugs, there's about, I don't know, 15 or 20 of them, and after you go in the ground and you cut it and get it out, you dump it upside down, you have your 15 to 20 plugs, and all you do is you come, depending on what kind of condition your soil is in, will depend on how hard or difficult this is, but you just make these little spots, step on it, water it in, and from that spot, and you can do as many as you want to do or you have time to do, you'll have all these central growing points that those plugs, which are basically miniature pieces of sod, that you get from your one piece of sod that will be growing points to grow and fill in the yard. So that's plugging. Again, access other videos for more information on plugging. Sod is just a rectangular piece of grass that was cut at a sod farm, and this piece right here is 16 inches wide by 24 inches long, and that's pretty standard. All the times I've ever bought sod, that's the size that it is. I've seen people put sod on top of grass and it do okay. I would never recommend that, and I can't believe that it survived and did okay. The more dirt work you do, the better it's going to do. I do believe this one right here, as long as it's watered well, will do fine. But if you really want to make it better, if you wait for the soil to be good and soft, obviously a tiller would be better. But again, I'm just trying to show simple concepts. This on a large scale, this would be a lot of work. But you do that first, and that gives those roots even more ability to go in and get establish itself in the ground. You could do wall-to-wall sod in an area like this. This was about a 200-300 square foot area, and you have to do the math to figure out what your square footage there would be. But again, the big thing here is this is the more expensive way to do it, would be to sod a yard or to sod an area, but it's a more guaranteed approach because the grass is already alive. You don't have to wait to see if it's going to germinate from seed. It has already germinated. It's there. All you have to do is keep it watered. What else do I want to say about sodding? You can cut this into, let's see here, cut it into rectangles. It's all about, budget. It's all about how much time you want to put into it. Obviously, you can pay a landscaper and we can refer some to you if you don't want to get out and do something like this, but you can cut it into as many squares as you want to cut it. It's not going to hurt the grass. Again, you just have to make sure you keep it watered after you put it in until that root system attaches itself. Let's see, the only other method was sprigging. So sprigs is just the runners. My daughter just mowed the yard and she was a little rough with the tires, and so she caused some of the sprigs or the runners to come up out of the ground. But with sprigging, and I'm thankful to hear that thunder in the background, with that rain coming, you could just bury that right there. I actually did this the other week in some parts of my yard. You could even bury this more if you want to. You could almost bury the whole thing if you wanted to, because it's going to come up through there. Again, the big thing is that you water it. And so that's sprigging. There's sprigging done on a much more massive scale. Golf courses do it, and they have these big fancy machines where it just throws sprigs everywhere. And so you can get creative with this and figure out, how you want to do it. But hopefully that helps you to understand sprigging, seeding, sodding, and plugging. Let us know if you have any questions, and happy planting.